Hi, my name is Aaron, and this is going to be my review of Always Strive and Prosper. It's the second studio album by the ASAP Mob member A$AP Ferg. When I first originally heard of A$AP Ferg, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. When I heard songs like Shabba Ranks, Work, and Hood Pope on the album, I was a fan of his eerie, kind of mystical kind of feeling that he brought to trap music, and I thought it was really interesting and kind of reminded me of like a hip-hop version of The Mummy or something like that. And I thought that what he did to kind of differentiate himself from other rappers was really interesting. It might not be the technical best A$AP Mob project, but it's definitely my favorite just based on replay value and stuff. It's definitely one of my favorite albums to listen to. And even though that the great majority of the album was pretty much just party songs and just like hype bangers type songs, it didn't really bother me because what A$AP Ferg was doing on the tracks was so catchy with his really kind of loony and kind of chaotic like voice changes and flow changes. Kind of reminded me of a male Nicki Minaj or something. It was interesting enough on its own that he didn't really need to delve into his personal life, and I would have been fine with just another album that was just like that. But this album kind of did the opposite of what I kind of wanted. It really went into his personal life, and it was for better or for worse for me. In this album, he talks about his family life, his friends, his life in general, just how like stature in hip hop, his love life, the kind of same material that Drake says on his albums. I think it's cool that he's getting a little bit more deeper and personal with this album. He's not the most interesting personal rapper. The song Let It Go, he talks about a girl that doesn't really like the way that he raps about her in his songs, and it's a nice thought to kind of show that kind of perspective, but it just comes off as really corny and kind of cliched, and it kind of just comes off as a crappy J. Cole song that wouldn't even make it on the album, and I'm not a huge J. Cole fan. I Love You is about this, is like kind of this tribute to this girl that he's infatuated with at the moment. And the weird thing about the track is that he only has one verse on it, and the song is dominated by Chris Brown and Ty Dolla $ign. It doesn't even sound like an A$AP Ferg song. It ends up sounding like he's featured on his own song, and that's kind of a disappointment for me. And Strive featuring Missy Elliott is by far like one of the worst songs I've heard this entire year. It's about like kind of making the best out of a situation. Like Ferg kind of grew up in not the best part of New York, and he kind of struggled and stuff. And he saw that his uncle was doing bad things and he was, prospering, but A$AP Ferg was doing like the right thing and staying on the right track. But it kind of comes off as cliched. They put this subject matter with a really weird and kind of annoying rap house beats, and it just doesn't go along with what Ferg is rapping about and stuff, and it just really comes off as really weird. And the weird thing about this album is that the production is kind of a mixed bag for me too. Trap Lord was uniformly and consistently a really great album, like sonically, so I was expecting that type of attention to stuff, but I just didn't get that from this album. Like the more personal and low-key sounding beats don't really mesh well with his rapping style, his kind of like cartoony, kind of loonish like delivery and flow, and it's not really interesting either. Like whenever he does go for stuff like that, like on the songs Let You Go and I Love You, it just doesn't sound interesting to me. Like again, it sounds like a J. Cole song that even some of the more like hype beats kind of aren't that unique or great either. Swipe Life kind of reminds me of like a parody of like trap beats that you would see like on a YouTuber that is kind of just kind of making fun of trap music. Uzi Gang kind of sounds so like half-assed. It doesn't even sound like a real A$AP Ferg song. There are some great songs on the album. You have the song Yammy Gang, which has this kind of like weird, eerie string instrument in the back of it that kind of makes the song sounds more menacing and kind of murky and dark and stuff. And then you have these like really focused verses from A$AP Ferg and just the whole A$AP Mob. I love like Ferg's little singing. I love Ferg singing on like small parts where he kind of emotes, and then that's it. And this song really feels like it could fit on Trap Lord, which is probably why I like it more. New Level is this really gripping track that has this kind of like under the radar bass strings, and it kind of sounds like a brass instrument that's kind of selling the instrumentation and stuff. Ferg sounds deranged on this track, which I love. I love whenever he sounds crazy and frenetic and kind of out there. And I also love the like yelling and the screaming that's going on in the back of the track. It kind of makes it sound more chaotic and claustrophobic, and it kind of feels like you're in this like horror movie, and I love that vibe for this song. My favorite guest feature on the whole album, Future, who's by far one of my favorite rappers. He absolutely owns the track, and I just love the debauchery that he's like singing, like he's rapping about on the track, and it's really interesting to me. And even though Beautiful People is kind of like this kind of different from Ferg's been rapping about, like on Trap Lord and stuff. I like it. It kind of builds up with these like percussion instruments and drums, and it kind of, as Ferg like does his verse, it kind of crescendos with him, and I really thought that was really interesting, and it has this kind of like a positive message, and I actually like the positive message on this song. It doesn't come off as kind of contrived or forced to me, and I like that this song, even though it's different, it justifies itself for being different. It doesn't just sound like a mediocre song that some of the other songs do on this album. And also like Let It Bang, it sounds so creepy with like the weird synths going on in the song. It sounds really eerie, like something in a Halloween movie or something. I love the intense verses from Ferg and Schoolboy Q. They really give a lot of like power to their voices. Overall, I thought this was a really underwhelming album. I thought that A$AP Ferg kind of switched up his style for not a great reason. I thought that what he was doing before was good enough, and I feel like the style change that he did in this album wasn't justified. Like if he had like made like a super concise and super like consistently great album, it would have been cool, but this album just wasn't that for me. It kind of sounded corny. It either had like corny subject matter, or the beats weren't up to par, what I would expect from an A$AP Ferg album. But the songs that did kind of continue that theme with, you know, debauchery and just how mystical and like eerie that Trap Lord had, Yammy Gang and New Level, whenever he did do that type of vibe, it worked for me better. So yeah, overall, I would just say that for Ferg's next project, he just needs to, you know, stick to what he's good at. Overall, I would give this album probably like a 4 out of 10. I didn't think it was like horrible, but I don't think I would probably listen to this outside of 4 to maybe 5 tracks on the album. Yeah, so what did you guys think? Did you like this album? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope y'all enjoy the video. Alright, thanks, bye.